Hello everybody, my name is Christine and I work with Oakville Green. Today I'm going to be talking to you about biodiversity in Oakville and around the world. We will learn what biodiversity is, the different types of biodiversity, and why it is so important. Biodiversity is the combination of all living things, the communities that they form, and all of the places that they live. In other words, it is all the variety of life on Earth. There is huge diversity in life on Earth, including many species that are so small we can't even see them. Can you name the 5 types of living organisms? That's right. Animals, plants, fungi, protists, and bacteria. There are 3 types of biodiversity: ecosystem, species, and genetic diversity. Ecosystem biodiversity is all of the different habitats, biological communities, and ecological processes, as well as the variation within individual ecosystems. Earth has a lot of ecosystem biodiversity, with habitats ranging from the tundra to the rainforest. Species biodiversity is all of the different species, diversity within the same species, and how many individuals each species has. Genetic biodiversity occurs within the same species. It is all the genes contained in all individual plants, animals, fungi, and microorganisms. Humans are quite genetically diverse. Just look at the comparison between the genetic background of these 2 individuals. Having lots of ecosystem, species, and genetic diversity is good for the planet. Adaptations are the result of evolution that fits organisms to their specific environments. The huge diversity in ecosystems drives adaptation, meaning life is constantly changing to be better suited to their environment. Adaptations can increase efficiency and support an organism's needs better. There are 3 types of adaptation: structural, like a beaver's strong tail; physiological, like the chemicals in a bee sting; and behavioral, like monarch butterflies flying south over the winter. Biodiversity is the fabric that holds ecosystems together. Species are highly interconnected, and Oakville is home to countless systems of species working together in harmony. For example, wildflowers like milkweed provide a food source to pollinators, like bees and butterflies. In turn, pollinators help the flowers reproduce. When these species eventually die, decomposers like bacteria and fungi turn decaying matter into rich soil, which allows more flowers to grow. These systems rely entirely on biodiversity to continue existing and thriving. Ecosystems are woven together by biodiversity in a very delicate balance. Biodiversity is fragile, and it isn't only broken by catastrophic events like volcanoes or asteroids. Once too many species are harmed, the balance begins to collapse. There are 2 main reasons that Oakville's biodiversity has declined: habitat loss and invasive species. Habitat loss occurs when humans destroy habitat for housing, agriculture, and business. As the human population increases, the space left for the natural world declines. Invasive species are plants, animals, and microorganisms that have been introduced by humans to an ecosystem where they do not belong. They invade native habitat and make it their own, harming the native biodiversity. The thing is, we often don't even know which species are invasive. Can you tell if any of these species are invasive? Garlic mustard. Invasive. Garlic mustard is one of Oakville's most aggressive invasive species, and you will find it in almost every woodlot. It competes with native species for space and resources, and it even releases chemicals that make it hard for native species to grow. Milkweed. Native. Milkweed has countless ecological benefits and forms a symbiotic relationship with the monarch butterfly, benefiting both species. Monarch caterpillars can only eat milkweed. Canada thistle. Invasive. Despite its name, the Canada thistle is actually invasive. This spiky plant forms a deep root system and competes with native plants for resources. Poison ivy. Native. Although poison ivy is seen as quite undesirable for humans, it is a native species that is an important member of the food chain. It is eaten by raccoons and white-tailed deer, and even acts as a shelter for small species like the American toad. Emerald ash borer. Invasive. The emerald ash borer is the reason that many ash trees sadly had to be removed in Oakville. Their larvae feed on the wood of the native ash tree, killing it. It is important to get outside and to connect with Oakville's biodiversity. If you pay close attention, you will be able to see many of the smaller systems that make up our ecosystems in action. If you want to learn more, there are great resources out there. The TRCA and the Ontario Invasive Plant Council have tons of resources on native biodiversity, invasive species, and habitat loss. Oakville Green runs volunteer programs where we plant trees, remove invasive species, and clean our forests and creeks. We would love it if you got involved. Thank you very much for watching.